Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Farid Hamam Yahya, and I am a student in the Islamic University of Sultan Agung Semarang. And in this video, I will presentation about a consort checklist from the article entitled Effect of Tocilizumab on Clinical Outcomes at 15 Days in Patients with Severe or Critical Coronavirus Disease 2019 Randomized Controlled Trial. The first checklist is title in an abstract. The topic is title and abstract. Item number 1A. The checklist item is identification as a randomized trial in the title. We can see there is written randomized control trial in the title of this article. We can find it in page 1. The next checklist is 1B, structured summary of trial design, method, result, and conclusion, or the abstract reported on page 1. This is the abstract. There is objective, and then design, setting, participant, intervention, main outcomes measure, result, and conclusion. The next item is background and objective. Number item 2A, scientific background and explanation of rationale. You can find it in page 1 and page 2. This is in the introduction. There's a research background. I will read it. The coronavirus disease 2019 or COVID-19 pandemic has led to profound worldwide health, economic, and social loss. As of October 2020, more than 40 million people has received a diagnosis of COVID-19 and 1 million deaths has occurred globally. Although the disease is asymptomatic or mild in most patients, a substantial percentage of people have more extensive pneumonia that can progress to hypoxemic respiratory failure, shock, dysfunction of organ, and death. Activation of macrophage as a result of infection initially in the lungs and then systemically is an essential source of pro-inflammatory cytokine and chemokine. This host immune response is thought to play a key role in the pathophysiology of lung and other organ dysfunction in COVID-19. Tocilizumab is an interleukin-9 inhibitor approved for the treatment of rheumatoid arthritis, giant cell arteritis, and cytokine release syndrome during chimeric antigen receptor T cell therapy. Interleukin-9 is an inflammatory cytokine that exerts its effect in the liver and on lymphocytes, inducing acute phase reactants such as C-reactive protein, fibrinogen, and hepcidin from hepatocyte, and promotes CD4 T helper 17 and CD8 cytokine T cell differentiation and antibody production. Interleukin-9 plays an important role in controlling viral infection such as influenza A, severe acute respiratory syndrome, coronavirus 1, and herpes virus. And then item number 2B, specific objective or hypothesis, reported on page number 2. Okay, I will read it. In COVID-19, an increased level of interleukin-9 and C-reactive protein correlates with disease severity and mortality. Thus, blocking interleukin-9 activity might play a role in mitigating the inflammatory response and improve clinical outcomes in patients with COVID-19. To test its hypothesis, we conducted a randomized control trial comparing tocilizumab plus standard care with standard care alone in patients admitted to hospital with severe or critical COVID-19. Okay, the next item is number 3E, 3A, description of trial design such as parallel, factorial, including allocation ratio. Okay, you can find it in page number 2. The trial design, randomized, open label, parallel group, and superiority trial. Okay. And then item number 3B, important change to method after trial commencement, such as eligibility criteria with reason. I cannot find it. And then the next item, number 4E, is eligibility criteria for participant. You can find it in page number 2. This is eligibility criteria from this article. Okay, we enrolled hospital in patient aged 18 years old older with severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2 infection confirmed by reserved transcription polymerase chain reaction and with symptoms for more than 3 days. Eligible patient had severe or critical COVID-19 with evidence of pulmonary infiltrate confirmed by chest compute tomography or radiography. And we receiving supplemental oxygen to maintain oxygen saturation greater than 93% or had been receiving mechanical ventilation for less than 24 hours before analysis. In addition, at least 2 of the following criteria had to be met. D-dimer. Okay, blah 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 blah. Okay, we can continue it. For item number 4B, setting and location where the data were collected, reported on page number 2. Okay, item 4B. Okay, the location is in the 9 hospitals across Brazil. Okay, and the setting or the time, maybe we can find it in the abstract. 8 May to 17 July 2020. Okay, and the next item is item number 5, the intervention for each group with sufficient details to allow replication, including how and when they were actually administered. We can find it in page number 2. The intervention, written or electronic contest, was obtained from all patient or legal representative before study enrollment. The trial was overseen by an independent data monitoring committee. Because of an administrative error by the research team, the trial was registered at clinicaltrial.gov a few days after enrollment of the first patient. You can see in supplementary file, an independent adjudication committee analyzed secondary infection and death. Detail of the trial rationale and method have been described elsewhere and are provided in the study protocol. Okay, the next item is number 6A, completely defined specific primary and secondary outcome measures, including how and when they were assessed. You can find it in page number 2, 6E. The outcome is the primary outcome was clinical status at 15 days, evaluated with the use of a 7-level ordinal scale, defined as level 1, not admitted to hospital and with no limitation in active. Level 2, not admitted to hospital but with limitation in active. Level 3, admitted to hospital and not receiving supplemental oxygen. Level 4, admitted to hospital and receiving supplemental oxygen. Level 5, admitted to hospital and receiving non-invasive positive pressure ventilation or high flow oxygen through a nasal cannula. And then level 9, admitted to hospital and receiving mechanical ventilation. And the next level, level 7, death. And then item number 6B, any change to trial outcome after the trial commenced with reason. I cannot find it. And then the next item is number 7A, how sample size was determined. We can find it in page 2 and page 3. Page 2 and page 3, 7A. Okay. We estimated that an initial sample size of 150 patients would provide 80% power to detect odds ratio of 0.44 of having a higher 7-level ordinal scale at 15 days with a 2-side significant level of 5%. Blah 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 blah. Okay. And then number 7B, when applicable, explanation of any interim analyze and stopping quit lines. I cannot find it. And the next item, number 8A, method used to generate the random allocation sequence generation. Okay, we can find it in page 2. Okay, page 2. Method used to generate data were collected daily from randomization until day 29 in the electronic case report forms. Hospital research unblinded to treatment assignment. Collected outcome data during the patient hospital stay for patients who were discharged before day 15. An interviewer who has unaware of the assigned trial group conducted a structured telephone call with the patient or patient proxy on or after day 15 to access vital status and return to routine activities. Unblinded. Okay. And then the next is 8B, type of randomization. Details of any restriction such as blocking and block size. You can find it in page 2. 8B, type of randomization. Patients were randomized in a 1:1 ratio to receive either standard care or tocilizumab plus standard care, with random blocks of size 2, 4, 6, and 8, and stratified by age under 60 and 60 years old, and sex according to a computer generated schedule using the sample function of software R3.6.3 Air Foundation. Okay, and then point number 10, who generate to random allocation sequence, who enrolled participant, and who assigned participant to intervention. I cannot find it. And then blinding, who has blending after assignment to intervention. I cannot find it. So we continue in point 11b. Oh yes, 11b, and I cannot find it too. And then point 12e, a statistical method used to compare groups for primary and secondary outcomes. Okay, we can find it in page 3. Page 3, statistical method. Point 12e, statistical method. Sensitivity analysis of the treatment effect of the primary outcomes was performed using a per protocol population and considering only patients who receive the treatment as assigned. We further conducted a post hoc sensitivity analysis for the effect on the primary outcome, adjusting for baseline clinical status on the 7-level ordinal scale. Owing to imbalance in the baseline distribution of this variable between treatment groups, plus age and sex, analysis for pre-specified subgroups were conducted with interaction terms. And the next is point 12b, method for additional analysis such as subgroup analysis and adjust analysis. We can find it in page 3. Method for additional analysis. Secondary outcome were evaluated by generalized linear regression using appropriate distribution. To account for the competing risk of death, we performed a post hoc analysis assessing the treatment effect on duration of hospital admission, including only patients who were discharged alive. All models were adjusted for age as a continuous variable and sex. Results are present with corresponding 95% confidence intervals. One interim analysis was planned when 75 patients has completed 5 days of follow-up, and independent data monitoring committee performed the interim analysis. Analysis was performed with R software, R core team. P-values are not reported for secondary or exploratory outcomes. The width of the confidence interval for secondary and exploratory outcomes were not adjusted for multiple comparison. Thus, the interval should not be used to infer definitive treatment effect. And the next point, number 13a, participant flow. For each group, the number of participants who were randomly assigned received indeed treatment and were analyzed for the prime outcomes. Diagram is strongly. We can find the diagram in page number 5. This is the diagram of allocation, follow-up, and analyzing of a trial participant. Okay. The total participant is 129 randomized, and then there are 65 allocated to receive tocilizumab plus standard of care, and the 64 allocated to receive standard of care alone. And from the 64 participant in the in receive standard of care alone, there is to receive tocilizumab. And then all the participant is complete 15 days follow up. And okay, we continue. The next item is number 13B. For each group, loss and exclusion after randomization together with reason. And there's no in the article. And the next point, the next item is number 40A. Dates defining the periods of recruitment and follow-up. We can find it in page number 3. Page number 3. Okay. Point 14A. Period and recruitment and follow-up. Period of recruitment and follow-up. A total of 129 patients were recruited between 8 May and 17 July 2020. Okay, the next item is number 14B. Why the trial ended or was stopped? Okay. The reason why the trial ended is the trial was prematurely interrupted on 17 July 2020 after the first interim analysis in accordance with the recommendation of the Data Monitoring Committee owing to an excess number of deaths at 15 days in the tocilizumab group. Okay. The next item is baseline data. Okay. Item number 15. A table showing baseline demographic and clinical characteristic for each group. We can find the table in the page 4. Page 4. This is the baseline data. Table 1. Baseline characteristic of patient with severe or critical coronavirus disease 2019 and assigned to tocilizumab plus standard care or standard care alone. Values are numbers, percentage, unless stated otherwise. Okay, we continue for the item number 16. For each group, number of participants denominator include in each analysis and whether the analysis was by original assigned group. We can find it in page number 6. Page number 6. Number analysis. Tocilizumab group, there are 65 patients, and then control group, there are 64 patients. Okay, the next item is item number 70A. For each primary and secondary outcome result for each group and the estimated effect size and its precision, such as 95% confidence interval. You can find it in page number 3. Page number 3. The 17A primary outcomes. The table 2 and supplementary figure S1 show the distribution of the primary outcome 7-level ordinal scale at 15 days, and figure 2 show patient status over time according to study group. Supplementary table S4 present the cumulative proportion of the categories on the 7-level ordinal scale and show that the odds proportionally assumption did not hold. The use of tocilizumab was not associated with an improvement In the improvement, in mechanical ventilation or death at 15 days, 18 of 65 or 28% patient in the tocilizumab group, and 13 of 64 or 20% in the standard care group. At ratio is 1.54, 95% confidence interval, 0.66 to 66 to 3.66. Okay. Death at 15 days. A component of the primary outcome occur in 11 or 17% patient in the tocilizumab plus standard care group compared with 2 or 3% in the standard care group. At ratio is 6.42, 1.59 to 43.2. Perspective per protocol sensitivity analysis and a post hoc sensitivity analysis adjusted to baseline clinical status on the 7-level ordinal scale were also not indicative of treatment benefit. The effect of the primary outcome were in general similar across pre-specified subgroups, and we can see the table in the page of 6. Okay, the next item is number 17b. For binary outcomes, presentation of both absolute and relative effect size is recommended. I cannot find it in this article. And then the next item is number 18. Result of any other analysis performed, including subgroup analysis and adjusted analysis. Distinguish pre-specified from exploratory. We can find it in page 3, 4, and 5. Page 3, 4, and 5. Point 18. Ancillary analysis. Point 18. Tocilizumab was not associated with either detectable significant differences on mortality up to 28 days. Odds ratio 2.70, 95% confidence interval, 0.97 to 8.35, or in hospital mortality 2.70 and 0.97 to 8.35. Supplementary table S7 and S8 show the cause of death. Clinical status at day 8 and day 29 was not significantly different between treatment groups. Patient assigned to tocilizumab had a lower duration of hospital stay. Mean is 11.3. Rate ratio 0.70. 95% confidence interval 0.55 to 0.87. Duration of hospital stay remained lower in patients assigned to tocilizumab in a post hoc analysis, including only patient discharged alive, 11.9. Okay, blah 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 blah. The next item is number 19. Harms. All important harms or unintended effect in each group. We can find it in page number 5 and page number 7. Page number 5. Okay. A total of 29 or 43% patient assigned to tocilizumab, and 21 or 34% assigned to standard care had adverse event. Serious adverse event occurred in 11 or 16% patient in the tocilizumab group and 7 or 11% in the standard care alone group. No detectable differences were found in the incidence of any specific adverse event between patients who received tocilizumab compared with those who did not. Okay. The next item is limitation. Okay. Number item is 20. Trial limitation, addressing source of potential bias, imprecision, and, if relevant, multiplicity of analysis. You can find it in page 7 and page 8. Page 7. Limitation of this study. Our baseline data were well balanced except for respiratory support and use of azithromycin. The level of respiratory support, an important prognostic marker, was lower among patients assigned to tocilizumab. Okay, the next item is item number 21, generalizability, external validity, applicability of the trial findings, and nothing in the article. And then the next item is item number 22, interpretation consistent with result, balancing benefit and harms, and considering other relevant evidence. We can find it in number 5. Okay, page number 5. Okay, the interpretation is our result were unexpected given the potent anti-inflammatory activity of tocilizumab in rheumatoid arthritis and CAR-T. The rapid increase in cytokine usually accompanies an increase in inflammatory markers and clinical deterioration in patients with COVID-19, which is reminiscent of CAR-T. Thus, it was plausible that blocking interleukin 6 in patients with COVID-19 could lessen the inflammatory response and avert some of the more dire consequences of the disease. However, clinical observation and biological plausibility are often not confirmed by randomized clinical trial. Okay, the next item is item number 23, registration. The registration number and name of trial registry, we can find it in page 1 after the abstract. Clinical registration, clinicaltrial.gov, NCT 044036885. And then the item number 24 is the protocol, where the full trial protocol can be accessed if available. And I cannot find it in the article. And then the last item of consort checklist is item number 25, the funding, source of funding and other support, such as supply of drugs, role of funders. We can find it in page number 8. Okay. This trial was funded by the hospitals and research institute participating in the Coalition COVID-19 Brazil. The exploratory laboratory analysis was conducted and funded by Fleury Laboratory in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Instituto Votorantim provide a donation for the purchase of tocilizumab for this study. It had no role in the design of the trial, the conduct, the analysis, or the decision to submit the manuscript for publication. Okay, funding. Okay, we has see all the checklists from consort checklist. So that's all from me. Thank you for watching my video, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.